I suppose I should make clear I am not here to be light reading. I am also not here to debate small social issues on the normal political levels that our attention is increasingly diverted to. There are large and incredibly important problems that most of humanity is either unaware of or ignores because of enforced apathy. We, as humans, need to be aware of the problems faced by the species as a whole and the issues that impact the long-term viability of the Earth as a home for life. Wasting our time arguing over the vast area of social issues such as same-sex marriage and abortion is diluting and distracting the public consciousness. I obviously do not mean to say that these issues do not have impact on the lives of individuals and do not possess their own relevance. However, the important fact is that these are not issues that a federal or far-reaching governmental body has any business or right to legislate. Also, social issues should be relegated to local and regional governments to allow the citizens to craft their living environment in the way that they see fit. The domain of the top branches of government should only be the issues that must be handled in a unified manner in order to keep the population as a whole happy and healthy, as well as to preserve and protect society and the environment that we live in. I also wanted to ensure that the listener is aware of the distinction between what I see as immediate short-term necessity and more flexible long-term speculation. I will be speaking on many issues, first and foremost being the current energy crisis. But beyond the immediate threats to the viability and liberty of humanity, I will begin to touch on broader concepts to outline what I envision as important to the development of a future society that is safe from the overt manipulations of those in power, as well as safe from the destructive forces of mentally unstable individuals. The problem that has plagued us over the ages is how we pursue and defuse those who would cause widespread harm to the people of the world, without stifling or oppressing those whose voice and vision will carry our development to the next stage in our growth as a people. I would skirt many of these far-reaching and more philosophical issues, but I also do feel that it is important that people are aware of them and can see the vision as a whole, so that it can take on a life of its own, without secrecy or confusion, and so that it can be seen very readily that I am aware of and prepared to confront the dark side of humanity, that I am willing to try to remedy our weaknesses, and to truly help us develop into a much greater collective entity than most that might think is possible at this time, and to do so while always remaining aware of the needs of the world as a whole. Basically, regardless of who may be offended by one issue or another, it is time that someone become increasingly critical of our current methods of governance, and that this critical eye be not just pointed at the local community, but also at the federal government, to the rest of the world and their governments, and even to the individual themselves. You and I are responsible at every turn for what happens to us and the rest of the world. It may not feel like it at times, because even in a fully functioning democratic republic, the individual can easily become lost and unheard. It is for exactly that reason that it only makes sense that the larger branches of government remove themselves from social issues. What offends you in personal practice should not and cannot reflect on the 6 billion people of the world. Some people may wish to legislate a tobacco-free community. Some live as nudists. Some want their religion in their schools. Some want to be free from a religious doctrine altogether. Some want to live without modern technology. All should be free to live as they see fit, as long as they do not degrade the liberties and freedoms of others. This is to say that it is unconstitutional for the government to tell the individual how they are to live and enjoy their lives, simply based on the beliefs or values of others. For this reason, I want to make a clear distinction between what humanity must face today, what we need to face tomorrow, and what we simply need to trust the individual to face for themselves. Also, I must point out that there is simply not time in this introduction to go into a huge amount of detail in any one area, and if I did, most people wouldn't even take the time to listen, not yet anyway. The intent of these essays is to prepare the people for the changes that they must soon come to face, because only concerted effort will bring us to a brighter and more fulfilling future for humanity.